Hi, beautiful friends. Bleadon-Maffei here, and today's video is going to be a little bit different than what I usually talk to you about. Usually, I come to you and we talk about angels and spirituality and inspiration, or I might talk to you about my classes that I'm offering. Today's going to be a little different. You see, we are divine beings having a human experience, and today I'm really going to be talking about some earth-based stuff, which is the coronavirus or COVID-19 as it is also known. So first things first, I want you to know that I have no medical experience. So I am not coming to you as a medical expert. I am coming to you as another human being, a fellow human traveler here, who's concerned about this. And this showed up on my radar at the end of January. And I had this very intense um, urge to learn everything that I could about this. So, where it's coming into the mainstream media now, I have been hyper focused on this for about 6 weeks, which doesn't make me an expert. I just believe that somehow I was guided to know about this so I could help and support you because I'm in a pretty unique position here. In our Illuminating Souls family, at least on Facebook, we have hundreds of thousands of people around the world. And I have this ability to broadcast messages to you and hopefully in a way that will support you and help empower you and help you tune in to what it is you need to know about this. So again, I have no medical background. I am not coming to you as an expert. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do is for you to assemble your own council of wisdom. In spirituality and channeling, we often talk about a wisdom council or a circle of light. And when we talk about that, we're usually talking about non-physical beings, ascended masters that we connect with in consciousness. Well, here on Earth, we have amazing wise beings here too. In terms of the coronavirus, we are talking about infectious disease specialists, researchers, and journalists who are reporting on science-based, evidence-based information about the virus. There's a lot of information ping-ponging around the world about this right now. You've got the mainstream media who's reporting. You've got your neighbors and friends talking about this. I really want to encourage you to begin following research specialists, infectious disease specialists, science-based publications, so that you can learn what it is that you need to know about this virus. Um, it's tempting, I know, in spiritual circles, we often will go on a news fast, right? It can be very hard to be bombarded with the news of the day, especially when a lot of it is inflammatory. So even if you don't want to tune into the local news or the mainstream news channels, do follow some um, science-based, evidence-based researchers so that you will have the information you know. I trust in your intelligence. You're an intelligent being, and there's a lot of information available to you that will help you tune in to your approach to this challenge that we're navigating. The way that I did this is I went onto Twitter and I started searching for the hashtag COVID-19, and I started looking for people who were reporting about this in a way that was meaningful to me. I started noticing who they were following, who they were retweeting, who they were having conversations with, and I built up my own stable of people that I am following now for information. I will give you some suggestions. So in the comments or um, in the description of this video, I will give you some suggestions. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to tune in and see if these are people that will resonate for you. These are who's resonating for me. You may have different people you want to follow. If you tend to take a very holistic approach to things, find the best of the best in terms of functional medicine people, holistic immune specialists. Find your wisdom team that you are going to get information from. It's really important that you tune into who are you going to turn to for advice and guidance. So that's number one. The second thing I want to recommend is let's not shame each other. I'm seeing a lot of shaming happening around this. There are people who are posting memes that are mocking people who are afraid or concerned for this and are preparing and running out and getting toilet paper and water and hand sanitizer, and those people are getting shamed. And I'm also seeing shaming happening in the other direction, where people who are preparing are shaming people who aren't preparing. So here's what I want to affirm. I want to affirm that you are going to do your research, and then you are going to have a healthy understanding of how you want to approach this. And please don't let anyone shame you for your approach to this virus. If you happen to have people in your life who are immune compromised, or you're immune compromised, or have respiratory issues, or who are over the age of 60, you may be more concerned than somebody who's in their 20s and very healthy. You know, we all are dealing with our own unique life curriculum. This is why it's important for you to tune in for yourself and your loved ones how you want to approach this. My general recommendations are similar to what you're already hearing, but I will bring them forward in case you haven't thought about it. One of the things that is possible, and we don't know where this is going to happen, is there might be a cluster of an outbreak near you. This virus is highly infectious, and one of the things that's very troublesome is it is infectious when it is non-symptomatic. So someone may not know they even have it, and let's say they go to school or to synagogue or to church or wherever to get their nails done, to go grocery shopping, they could unknowingly be exposing other people to it. So if there's a cluster outbreak in an area, then there's a heightened state of concern. And if you inadvertently were exposed to it without knowing, let's say you went to the office and one of your coworkers tests positive, it is highly likely that you and your family will be encouraged to go into a 14-day quarantine. So if that were to happen, what would you want to have at home to prepare? So whatever you would stock up on, whatever that means to you. But here are some things you want to think about. Food, right? What kind of food do you want? I know people are mocking people for getting bottled water. I will say that here in our home, we don't drink tap water. Our tap water doesn't taste good, and we have old pipes. So we are those kinds of people that have those 5-gallon bottles of water delivered. Um, Extra toilet paper. I know people are getting mocked for toilet paper. Um, Feminine hygiene products. If you're still at an age stage that this is important to you, you'll want to have that. You want to have enough food. Um, if you are on any prescription medications, make sure you have refills available. If you go on quarantine or if there's a cluster near you, you're not going to want to go to the drugstore probably. So I know that for some people who have good health insurance, you can mail order prescriptions. And go ahead and do that. Get your orders in now so that you have a 30, 60, 90-day supply. If you use an asthma inhaler, get that. You know, have yourself supplied. I also recommend that this is a good time to be cleaning out your medicine cabinet. I know for me, if I get sick with an upset stomach or a cold, I go and buy what I need, and then when it's over with, I typically don't throw it out. It stays in my medicine cabinet forever. So I use this as a time to clear out the medicine cabinet of everything that had been expired or just had 1 or 2 doses left. I disposed of it responsibly. And then I went and bought all new stuff. So cough syrup, stuff for an upset stomach, whatever you use to replenish electrolytes. If you are into natural medicine, follow, maybe talk to your functional medicine person. Are there certain supplements you want to have on hand? This is just a little aside. If this particular virus settles in the lungs. So if you are smoking or vaping, now is a good time to quit. So let's get our lungs healthy. Let's do what we can to bring breath and health into our bodies. It's a good time to focus on your immune system. So eat as healthy as you can. If there is nutritional supplementation you can give yourself, that will help. That's a good idea as well. Some other thoughts. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go off my notes here because I wanted to make sure I was hitting these beats. If you have kids, attune to how you want to talk to your children about this. Your children are going to know about this. They're going to be talking about it at school. And at school, there's always those few people who, all these few kids who give really super scary messages and misinformation, not on purpose. It's just what kids do. So decide, what is the conversation you want to have with your kids around this. You set the tone for your family, right? You help set the philosophy and the approach and the action plan for your family. And you may want to talk to them. If all of you needed to be quarantined for 14 days, what games, what snacks, what would they want to have at home to make this easier for them? The other thing to think about is, what if your children's school or daycare or their after school programs were canceled? We're seeing this happening in a lot of different places. Japan, Hong Kong, um, Italy. I think Italy just shut down all of the schools and universities. So what would that mean for you? The other thing to think about is, if you, which I think most of you do, work outside of the home, and especially if you are not in a salary-based business, if you are in the kind of business where you work with the public, what would that mean for you if there was an outbreak near you? And let's say people didn't want to come and get their nails done or their hair done, or whatever it is that people come to you for. I feel very fortunate. I have a home-based business. My 100% of my business is virtual. So I will still get to be here talking to you and teaching classes and doing angel sessions. God willing that we are healthy and well, I will get to be here. But I know a lot of people are not as fortunate. So to begin to think about that. If you live alone, right? I know a lot of people live alone. Make a plan for love, support, and resources and connection. So when I lived alone in Los Angeles before I got married, I had a circle of friends, and we had an earthquake plan. That if there was a big earthquake, I didn't want to be sitting alone in my apartment in Los Angeles, that there were a handful of friends, and we would decide whose house was better, and we would camp out together and take good care of each other. So, if you live alone, have a plan. Have a plan. Those friends that you can call if you get freaked out about something, or you want to laugh about how much, toilet paper and tuna fish you've bought. Make sure that before something happens, you have people you're talking to about this and to create a plan. Also, if you have anybody in your inner circle who is in an at-risk category, maybe they have respiratory disease already, or respiratory challenges, they're over the age of 60, they're autoimmune compromised, they're going through chemotherapy, have a conversation with them. How can you support them? Maybe they have fears they want to talk to you about. And if you are in this place where you can get centered and you're informed about this, you can hold space for those people in your life. One of the things I'm grateful for, because I have been reading about this and studying about this since the end of January, I feel like I'm in a centered place to help you. And hopefully you'll get into a centered place where you can then help others, because there's nothing worse than unexpected chaos. And it happens to all of us, but this is really something we have an opportunity to prepare for. I live in California. I live in earthquake country. I've lived in California since the 80s. And so in the back of my mind, I always have a preparation plan. I have extra toilet paper in the garage just in case an earthquake comes and the infrastructure isn't working really well for a week. What would I need to have? So preparing for unexpected chaos has been part of my approach to life for a really long time. If you live in hurricane country or blizzard country or earthquake country like me, you probably know what this is like. So help your friends who maybe have never experienced this before. You prepare for unexpected interruptions to the supply chain, panic buying, all of that kind of stuff. And hopefully you won't need any of it. I can't tell you how much how much canned food I've wound up donating, because I rotate out our supply because of earthquakes. I try to keep things that I need, and if I don't use them and they still have shelf life, I try to rotate out my inventory, and you can donate it to a food kitchen, or if you have college-age kids who are always looking for cans of something. Preparation will help you feel empowered in this. Knowledge is power. Let's see what else I have for you. Now is not the time to buy into panic or fear. This is not what this message is about. As I said, knowledge is power. Empower yourself to learn from science-based journalists and experts who will help you tune in to how to take care of yourself. If you're one of these people who feels like it's not going to be a big deal, God bless you. I hope you're right. I really do. And it may not be a big deal for you. If you are feeling concerned or even panicked or anxious about this, pay attention. It doesn't mean you're going to be right, but I know for me, when I am prepared, my anxiety is lowered. I'm like, oh, I have what I need. If there was an incident, I wouldn't have to run off. I'm one of those people now because I live in earthquake country and we also have bad fires here. And when the winds are high, they shut down our power. Like there's a lot of unexpected life disruptions where I live. I don't let my car get below a third of it, below 2/3 of a tank. I'm like a weird person. If my car gets to, just above half a tank of gas, I fill it up. Every week I top my car off. Not because of the virus, but because I live in earthquake country. And if there's a bad earthquake, the electrical grid may go down for a week or two and I won't have any gas. And if there's a bad earthquake, I want to be able to drive somewhere if I need to. So again, I don't live in fear. It's not in the front of mind, but I prepare. So I want to help you prepare for this. Hopefully it won't be a deal where you are. And if it is, listen, if you're living in Seattle right now, I know there's a lot going on. The thing about this virus is we don't know where it's going to land. I think up in Washington State, there are 130 healthcare workers who, no, actually that's in Northern California. I'm sorry. So there was a case here in Northern California. And I will tell you, it's odd to me that last week they announced the first community spread case in the US here in my county, in Solano County. So in all of the US, that first community spread case was in my backyard, basically. So I thought, all right, angels, this is why you're having me pay attention. And I think as a result of that case, there are 130 plus healthcare workers who are now in quarantine. That's a huge percentage of healthcare workers for a hospital, right, or healthcare center. And I believe there are, I don't know, a dozen or more firefighters and police officers who are now in quarantine up in Seattle who helped with that elder care facility or long-term care facility in Seattle where there's an outbreak. So part of the challenge of this is even if your immune system is healthy and you're not worried about catching the virus, the good news is the statistics people are quoting is that for 80% of the people who get this virus, it will just be like a cold or a flu and you'll be fine and you'll recover. That's the good news. Certainly as communities, we should be really concerned about the people for whom this could be catastrophic. But the thing is that we don't know where these clusters or these exposures will take place. And if an exposure happens in your vicinity, you may be asked to quarantine for 14 days. So just prepare for this, my friends. I know it's a weird thing for me to come and talk to you about. You might say, who are you to do this broadcast? Not in a terrible way, but I'm not a doctor and I'm not a researcher, but I believe in our ability to support each other. And if this conversation even helps one of you, if it helps even one person feel more centered and empowered, and if it gives you the bandwidth to take a breath and tune into how do you want to prepare for a possible outbreak near you, then this is well worth it. So the other thing is I want to be of service to you. How can I support you through this? Are there meditations? Are there attunements? Are there angel messages? Is there something I can do that will support you right now? Or are these kinds of conversations helpful? I know that I happen to have a gift for synthesizing information and bringing it to people. So if I can help you with this, I will. I will give you some resources of people that I have found to be helpful. That you may not resonate with them, and that's okay. I want you to follow your knowingness, your guidance, your North Star where this is concerned. I send you lots of love. I hope that this is going to be a non-conversation a couple months from now and it won't be a big deal. And if it is a big deal, we are in it together. We're going to help take good care of each other. We're going to support each other. We're going to keep each other inspired. I will continue to bring messages of love and inspiration and support for you. I love you very, very much, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.